al-Bukhari 357. Narrated Abu Murrah. The freed slave of Umhani, the daughter of Abi Talib said, I went to Allah's Messenger, in the year of the conquest of Mecca and found him taking a bath and his daughter Fatima was screening him. I greeted him. He asked, who is she? I replied, I am Umhani bint Abi Talib. He said, welcome, O Umhani. When he finished his bath he stood up and prayed 8 rakat while wearing a single garment wrapped round his body, and when he finished I said, O Allah's Messenger, my brother has told me that he will kill a person whom I gave shelter, and that person is so and so the son of Hubaira. The Prophet said, we shelter the person whom you have sheltered. Umhani added, and that was before noon, duha. Sahih al-Bukhari 358. Narrated Abu Huraira. A person asked Allah's Messenger about the offering of the prayer in a single garment. Allah's Messenger replied, has every one of you got 2 garments? Sahih al-Bukhari 359. Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, none of you should offer prayer in a single garment that does not cover the shoulders. Sahih al-Bukhari 360. Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, whoever prays in a single garment must cross its ends, over the shoulders. Sahih al-Bukhari 361. Narrated Sa'id ibn al-Harith. I asked Jabir bin Abdullah about praying in a single garment. He said, I traveled with the Prophet during some of his journeys, and I came to him at night for some purpose and I found him praying. At that time, I was wearing a single garment with which I covered my shoulders and prayed by his side. When he finished the prayer, he asked, O Jabir, what has brought you here? I told him what I wanted. When I finished, he asked, O Jabir, what is this garment which I have seen and with which you covered your shoulders? I replied, it is a tight garment. He said, if the garment is large enough, wrap it round the body, covering the shoulders, and if it is tight, too short, then use it as an izar, tie it around your waist only. Sahih al-Bukhari 362. Narrated Saul. The men used to pray with the Prophet, with their izars tied around their necks as boys used to do. Therefore the Prophet told the women not to raise their heads till the men sat down straight, while praying. Sahih al-Bukhari 363. Narrated Mughira bin Shu'bah. Once I was traveling with the Prophet, and he said, O Mughira, take this container of water. I took it, and Allah's Messenger went far away till he disappeared. He answered the call of nature and was wearing a Syrian cloak. He tried to take out his hands from its sleeve, but it was very tight, so he took out his hands from under it. I poured water and he performed ablution like that for prayers and passed his wet hands over his cuff, socks made from thick fabric or leather, and then prayed. Sahih al-Bukhari 364. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah. While Allah's Messenger was carrying stones, along with the people of Mecca for the building of the Kaaba wearing an izar, waist sheet cover, his uncle al-Dashabas said to him, O my nephew, it would be better if you take off your izar and put it over your shoulders underneath the stones. So he took off his izar and put it over his shoulders, but he fell unconscious, and since then he had never been seen naked. Sahih al-Bukhari 365. Narrated Abu Huraira. A man stood up and asked the Prophet about praying in a single garment. The Prophet said, has every one of you 2 garments? A man put a similar question to Umar, on which he replied, when Allah makes you wealthier, then you should clothe yourself properly during prayers. Otherwise one can pray with an izar and a raida, a sheet covering the upper part of the body. Izar and a shirt, izar and a kaba, trousers and a raida, trousers and a shirt or trousers and a kaba, tubban and a kaba or tubban and a shirt. The narrator added, I think that he also said a tubban and a raida. Sahih al-Bukhari 366. Narrated Ibn Umar. A person asked Allah's Messenger, what should a Moor wear? He replied, he should not wear shirts, trousers, a burnous, a hooded cloak, or clothes which are stained with saffron or wars, a kind of perfume. Whoever does not find a sandal to wear can wear cuffs, socks made from thick fabric or leather, but these should be cut short so as not to cover the ankles. Sahih al-Bukhari 367. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Allah's Messenger forbade ishtimal as-sama, wrapping one's body with a garment so that one cannot raise its end or take one's hand out of it. He also forbade al-atiba, sitting on buttocks with knees close to abdomen and feet apart with the hands circling the knees, while wrapping oneself with a single garment, without having a part of it over the private parts. Sahih al-Bukhari 368. Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet forbade two kinds of sales, i.e. al-limizan and nibid. The former is a kind of sale in which the deal is completed if the buyer touches a thing, without seeing or checking it properly, and the latter is a kind of a sale in which the deal is completed when the seller throws a thing towards the buyer, giving him no opportunity to see, touch, or check it, and the Prophet forbade also ishtamal as-sama and al-atiba in a single garment. Sahih al-Bukhari 369. Narrated Abu Huraira. On the day of Nar, 10th of Dhul Hijjah, in the year prior to the last Hajj of the Prophet, when Abu Bakr was the leader of the pilgrims in that Hajj, Abu Bakr sent me along with other announcers to Mina to make a public announcement. No pagan is allowed to perform Hajj after this year, and no naked person is allowed to perform the tawaf around the Kaaba. Then Allah's Messenger sent Ali to read out the Surat Barai at Tawbah to the people. So he made the announcement along with us on the day of Nar in Mina. No pagan is allowed to perform Hajj after this year, and no naked person is allowed to perform the tawaf around the Kaaba. Sahih al-Bukhari 370. Narrated Muhammad bin al-Munkadir. I went to Jabir bin Abdullah, and he was praying wrapped in a garment, and his Raida was lying beside him. When he finished the prayers, I said, "O Abdullah, you pray in a single garment, while your Raida is lying beside you." He replied, "Yes, I did it intentionally so that the ignorant ones like you might see me." I saw the Prophet praying like this.